Funny thing about tonight is that I said before we went on Thanksgiving break that that was the closeout, but me and Keith got to talking, and Proverbs is too good to just confine to a 3 week series, so we had to run that back. We gonna run this back one more time tonight because there are a lot of things in the Bible that a lot of people don't think is in there. A lot of people swear up and down that the Bible doesn't give us keys on how to go about doing relationships. And the reason why a lot of us think that is because, well, we're only focused on romantic relationships, but the Bible does give us some gems. Proverbs does house a lot of these gems, which is why I had to run Proverbs back for one more. So consider this overtime. I don't even know how many points I'm going to drop on Satan head tonight because man, that thing got so good the last night. Me and Keith drove by Calvary twice. We parked once. We got saved before we left, and then we rededicated ourselves before we closed out the war room. So I want to warn you now before I pray. If your edges are not secured, by the time I get through praying, whatever happens to him, it's just going to happen to him because I'm trying to do my best to warn you now. Prepare yourself as best as you can because I'm going to be in your mirror tonight. I'm already in your house. I already made myself a sandwich. Your couch is nice. I'm glad that you switched that up. Everything is that upholstery was starting to get on my nerves. But I'm finna be in your mirror tonight because we finna talk about something that's very, very important, especially because right now, this is my favorite part of the fourth quarter of the year. What you do this month sets up your entire 2021, whether you know it or not. And me and Keith sought the Lord for what we should say to you to start off this month because we only have 3 left. So I'm going to pray. Keith going to give us a brief introduction. And we going to do what we always do. So bow your heads. And by the way, even if your camera is off, my Baptist powers allow for me to see you if you are bowing or not. Don't make me tell Jesus on you. Let us pray. Father in heaven, this once again that we just simply tell you thank you, God. You've kept us up to this point in easily the most unprecedented year of our lives. From danger seen and unseen, you've protected us, God, and you've got us up to another Thursday. Thank you for keeping each and every person throughout the Thanksgiving holiday, God. And I'm asking that you would keep them tonight and throughout the rest of the year. But God, it's teaching time. This is our time to commune with you and to learn more about you. So God, open your word up to us like never before. Help us to be able to discover and apply things from your word to our lives to help us look and be more like you. It's this that I pray in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I'm glad to be back too, because last week was Thursday. That was Thanksgiving, and I wasn't going to be here on that day. But it's good to be with y'all. This is for real the highlight of my week outside of my own family inside the house. But this is my highlight. I love engaging. I love getting a good word from Jonathan. I love when I don't have to teach. I just get to sit and watch Jonathan. I love it. And I'm glad y'all are here. Even though it looks like a few people still on vacation, but that's okay. We'll catch them. We'll catch them next time. So tonight, I don't have a whole lot to say to set this up because in this last week of these principles from Proverbs, this overtime, this bonus round, this 10th inning, tonight it's inventory season. It's inventory season. Now, what are we taking inventory of? Well, we're taking inventory of people.
But Proverbs 27, 5 and 6 is so key. And many of us miss this gem because we are living in such a romantic relationship driven society that we miss the benefit of genuine friendships. So it says, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Now, here's the reason why this is so important for us to get right now in the month of December, in the final part of the fourth quarter of the wildest year of our lives. If I look at my life from last year to this year, there are a lot of things that have changed. We're in the middle of a parallelogram, for one. Oh God, we dealing with an incompetent government handling a parallelogram at that. But the one thing that has really made all the difference for me this year is the people that I have around me. I've gone through at least 6 or 7 changes this year in my friend circle with no shame whatsoever. Why? Because who you have around you is that important. I've said this before, and I will say it to you again. If you show me the people who are closest to you, I can easily show you, even parts of you that you didn't even know were there. You need to be cautious of who you have around you. Now let's look at these verses, take them step by step, and then I'm going to get into my points. Verse 5 says that better is open rebuke than hidden love. Think about that very, very carefully. Better is open rebuke. Better is you being put on blast on the timeline in the midst of cancel culture than having to deal with hidden love. Now, most of us don't want to get ratioed for nothing in our lives. So do you know how wild it is for the writer in Proverbs to say that that is better, for you to be rebuked, for you to be chastised openly in public, than for somebody to hide their love for you? One of the reasons why this thing got really good to us last night is because Keith and I started to wonder, well, why is this so important for us to keep in mind? Because there's some emphasis put on this. It's because a love that's hidden can't do what it's functioned to do in the first place. The Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. How is love going to cover a multitude of sins if it's hidden in the first place? If somebody got to hide their love for you, which is really my first point, somebody has to hide their love for you. Hidden love is not love at all. If I have to hide my love for you, that means I really don't love you, because deep down I'm embarrassed to let the world know that I am in relationship with you. Now, while we can say this about people, I want you to be very careful of how you point the finger at others, because all of us are guilty of doing this. Every single one of us, whether you realize it or not, all of us are guilty of hiding love before, because we do it to God more times than we're willing to admit. We love God in private. We love God in our prayer closets. We love God in our secret places, which is great. I need you to have God's love and have your relationship with God in your secret place. But what about when it's time and when people ask you what you really believe? And what do you stand on? Are you up front and are you vocal about it? Does your life mimic the way that your love for God is in private? Because I'm not going to lie to you. If you got to hide the fact that you love me and that you rock with me, don't do it at all. So I want you to think about this in this context. It's better for you to reject God altogether than for you to be content with hiding your love for him. And the reason why I say that is because God's love is the best example of love of all time. And God did not hide his love for any of us. It has always been on full display from the beginning, because in Romans, as much beef as I have with this man for the book of Romans, that Negro was spitting when he said that while we were yet sinners, when we wanted nothing to do with God, God showed his love for us, and that Christ died for us. So God has been all in with us from the beginning. That while we were yet sinners, I didn't even have sense enough to love myself. I didn't even have sense enough to invest in myself and give of myself. Christ died for me. So if you think you don't want to be hidden, how you think God feels? I go over this over again because I need this to root in your mind. I need this to be on the tablet of your heart. Stop acting like God doesn't have emotions and stop treating God like he's nothing but a side piece. Like he's nothing but somebody you can go to in the middle of the night. Like he's nothing but a sugar daddy or a genie. God's been entirely too good to us for us to continue to play these games. God put it all on the line for you. Not only did he die for you, but he got up again for you with all power in his hands just to have a relationship with you. And some of us don't even want to talk to God on a regular basis unless we're in trouble. Now, let me ask you this, and only you can answer this question. How would you feel if you only had people to come around you when you wanted something, when they wanted something, when they needed something? The only time that you heard from them was they were in despair. Your first thought would probably be, well, I don't mind being genuine or generous or anything of that nature because I care about you. But at some point, and for some of us quicker than others, we would start to question the level of that relationship. Well, I mean, dang, I ain't really nothing to them, but an emotional dumpster, an emotional punching bag. You mean to tell me that I'm not good enough to be let in on your good moments too? I only have to hear about your bad? Think about that. When is the last time that God heard from you when you were on the mountaintop and not just in the valley? Because if he's the same yesterday, today, and forever, that means that my God's goodness reaches to the highest mountain and it's even with you in the valley. So stop playing around as if God is only good when you need a blessing or a breakthrough. When you need a miracle. Because here's the thing, the goodness of God is so good that it'll teach you how to steward over stuff, right, to keep you out of trouble. So stop playing around as if this is okay. Hidden love isn't love at all. So if you have to hide your love for God, I need for you to really reevaluate what your definition of love is, because you certainly would not be okay with, I don't care what you tell me. You can sit here and lie to me right now. Matter of fact, I dare you to. Put it in the chat right now if you'd be okay with a significant other or a friend that only showed up and talked to you when they wanted something and things were bad. I dare you. Go ahead. Let me see how bold you finna lie to me tonight, because we only got 3 times left this year. 2 more after tonight. Lie to me if you want to. That's what I thought. So if you don't like it, if that hurts you, if that offends you, why is it okay for you to give that to God? And God is stuck closer to you than any human being ever has. He knew you before your mama and your daddy did that thing that grown folks did. But God is the one that always has to get the short end of the stick from you. Stop hiding your love for God, especially because deep down you know that ain't how you feel, and that ain't what you would want in return. You can't beat God's giving, but you ought be compelled to give him something more than just the bare minimum. I'm out for that. I want more from us than that. And God has been urging us throughout this entire pandemic to give him more and just abide. And some of us still are content with being at that same level. Let me tell you something right now. If you walk out of 2020 with your relationship with the same level as it was when this year got started, that's on you, because God has been urging us to draw closer to him, to lean and depend on him more. He's been doing it this entire time. And some of us are still so focused on what we want because we think that our will trumps his, that we're content with just being at the base level. It's time out for it. Hidden love ain't love at all. So if I got to hide it, I don't want it. I don't want it at all, because everybody in my life I love out loud and I love daily. Some of them are here on this call right now and they'll tell you, I ain't got no shame about it. I tell it to them and I tell it to the world, because that's exactly what God did for me, and that's exactly what I want my life to model for him. I If people can't stand me, the one thing I never want them to say is that he really don't know God. You can say I'm childish, you can say I go viral a lot, you can say I'm famous, all of that other stuff. I don't care about any of that if it gets in the way of my love for God shining through on a regular basis. All of it is in vain. So stop hiding your love for God, because you can't say that you love God, but you're ashamed to talk to him in front of other people. You're ashamed to speak of his goodness to other people. Every time something good happens to you, you have to put yourself in front of it, because you don't want people to think that you're doing too much. Let me tell you something. Since this is inventory season, if anybody has a problem with your relationship with God, it's time for you to evict them out your life anyways. They got to go today. And you need to get yourself in check too. While you doing inventory season of everybody else, make sure that you are doing an inventory check on yourself. Told y'all, man, that thing got good to me yesterday, and it's getting good to me tonight. Point number 2. Now this is the one that's gonna hit you on top of the head. Godly friendships are rarely fluffy. Let that sit for just a second, because I need for you to understand that really quickly. Because see, the problem that we have is that we want everybody to be pleased with us all of the time. So what we do is we'll get people that'll tell us what we want to hear. That's all we want, is just people singing our praises. Oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so beautiful. You're so talented. You're so special. You're so wonderful. Look at you. Yes, go out there and accomplish your dreams. And you know what's funny? I'm easily the best at that. I will literally encourage and adore you all day long. But if you ask anybody on this call, when it's time for me to tell you what the truth is, I ain't running away from it. I ain't running away from it, because your purpose is entirely too important to me for me to let you settle for a life that is less than what you have been called to. So that means that you ain't gonna like everything I got to say all the time. You can ask Nandi right now. I will tell anybody in a heartbeat, hey, listen, this ain't it. I don't know what you thought this was, but this ain't it. And you want to know what's so dope about that? The same way that I do it for them, they do it for me right back. Because that's the problem. We want stuff too sweet. But if I make stuff too sweet, if I give you too many sweets, you'll get a toothache. And I ain't paying for your dentist bill. So I'm not going to be responsible for your spiritual cavities, because I ain't paying for you to get that root canal done. I ain't paying for you to get none of that done. But the problem is that we want this stuff to be fluffy and cute all the time. All we want is for people to sing our praises and, oh, you're so wonderful, and oh, you're so great, and oh, you're so marvelous. Man, listen, let me tell you something. I got 12,000 plus followers on Twitter right now that do that every single doggone day. But when I'm in the wrong, I don't need that. I don't need you to hype me up when I'm in the wrong, because some of us want people to hype us up all the way to hell. And there are people out there right now that are crazy enough to do it. But as soon as you fall off, they'll be the first people to drag you on social media saying to cancel you. Don't believe me? Look at what they did to Jesus. Jesus walked around doing good to everybody, even people that hated him. And what did they do? Pilate said, yeah, I ain't gonna even hold y'all. I can't find no fault in this man. I don't really see what y'all really mad about. I mean, he ain't really doing that. Man, kill him. So he brought out Barabbas. Barabbas was a thug, a real thug. He shot Tupac, bro. Like, this man was a known killer. And Pilate asked them, so do you want me to give you Jesus, or Barabbas. They picked the thug, the killer, who was probably in there because he just got through killing some of their families, but they still picked him. And traded my Jesus in to get him drawn up on bogus charges. Godly friendships are not fluffy. So I'm going to tell all of you on this call right now, even if you know this already. If you want to be my friend, but you expect for me to sugarcoat stuff with you, especially when you tripping, stay where you at. Stay where you at, because I don't care about hurting your feelings if it's getting you closer to purpose and if it's drawing you closer to God. Now, I'm never going to be malicious with it. I'm never just going to outright say anything to put you down or hurt you. But if you tripping, I'm going to let you know you tripping. Keithton had to tell me a couple times, hey, fam, listen, you was right, but you probably shouldn't have said that. That wasn't your call to make. Now, of course, he laughed because I said it, because he knows I'm going to be the one to say it. But he was just like, so next time this comes up, you've already said it once. Shut up next time. Bet. Y'all don't know how many arguments he's kept me out of by telling me, man, listen, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But my point is, I don't need people around me that are scared to tell me about me when I need it. You need people around you that can see your blind spots, because it's a blind spot for a reason. You can't see everything about you like you think you can. And you need to humble yourself and make yourself available to correction. It is extremely important. Listen, making yourself available to correction will literally change the trajectory of your destiny in a good way. Stop thinking that you know everything. Stop thinking that you are the standard of everything. You literally just got here. Proverbs been standing for longer than you could breathe. Proverbs was here before your mama was, your daddy, your granny, and everybody else in between that you know. So better is open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. And let's be honest, godly friendships are going to hurt sometimes. I ain't finna tell you everything that you want to hear. I love you, but I don't like you that much to lie to you. I ain't got time for all that. Because you ain't finna die and have your blood be on my hands because I lied to, man. Again, if you think this Jonathan is going to lie to you, if you think Jonathan David Johnson finna lie to you just to make you feel better about yourself, you got another thing coming. Because I love you entirely too much to just let you fall by the wayside because you only want it fluffy. You only want the nice stuff. No, it hurts. It hurts. But let me tell you something. Point 3 is very simple. The quality of our friendships will always override the quantity of people singing our praises. Understand something. Everybody loves you when you're up, or everybody loves you when you're saying stuff that they want to hear. Everybody loves me when I'm making them laugh. Everybody loves me when I'm dropping memes of myself on the timeline. But as soon as I say something that they don't like, ooh, not that many likes on that post. Not too many laughs on that one. I would much rather speak the truth and nobody say one word to me than for me to lie always and have everybody singing my praises. Let me tell you something. Out of the 12,900, whatever the number is, followers I have, I don't even trust half of those to truly have my back when I really need it. If I could be honest with you, and this is being generous because I can't think of the exact number, I barely trust 20 people to lean on when I'm really going through it. I just went through it this past weekend. Most people didn't know because they don't need to know. I had one of my homegirls tell me, she was just like, I never would have thought that you went through stuff. Because you're always so happy. That's kind of sort of the point. Nobody is going to just, at least not most people I know, is just going to outright tweet, hey, yeah, I'm going through a very bad depressive episode. This is really wild. Tweet. Now, some people do. Most people will not. But the people I did tell, those are the people I lean on. Those are the people that, and I don't lean on the same people every single time, but I do know one thing. One thing I had to stop doing was not just looking at the quantity of people, but giving the quality of people a chance. I had to stop punishing people for a past that they had nothing to do with. John P. Key and Hezekiah Walker, they have a song called I'll Make It. And John says something in the song that is so true. He said that through none of your temptations, you keep the faith. He's already made a way for you to escape. What if the way that God has made for you to escape from temptation or a tough situation is leaning on the community that you prayed and begged to him for? This life and this walk, it wasn't made to do alone. But it also wasn't made for you to do with 1,000 people. Bro, Jesus had 12 disciples and only 3 of them witnessed the transfiguration. What does that tell you? If you still at the point where you need a lot of people around you at your big age, this inventory season going to be a little bit more crucial for you, and it's going to be a little more introspective for you than a little bit. I mean, but think about the quality of people that you have around you. Think about the people that you surround yourself with. Are you able to lean on them in the middle of your deepest and darkest valley? Because here's the thing, I ain't trying to be all cute and stuff like that when I'm fighting for my sanity and my mental health. I'm not really worried about being politically correct in those moments. I need to know if I can lean on you, because sometimes, man, listen, the load get heavy sometimes. And you don't need 50,000 people to bear it for you. But you do need a couple good people around you that's going to help you carry that load. That's going to help you to lean on. Listen, if it wasn't for the people I surrounded myself this year, I wouldn't have made it through this past weekend. This was a pretty low one. And I can talk about this now because my God is a keeper on the mountaintop and even in the valley. But he gave me some people that I could lean on while I'm leaning on him. And they gave me strength, and they gave me support, and they gave me encouragement. And it wasn't some long drawn out sermon. It wasn't some 50, 11 million year, type of thing. And they didn't even preach to me. They was like, hey man, we here for you. We love you. We praying with you. And if you need to vent, we got you. Stuff like that means more sometimes than the scripture does, because that's what it means to live out the word. Because remember, I told you, love is an action word. You got to live that out. You can't just always be talking about that. But the one thing I need for you to also understand is that just like you want quality people around you, you ought to strive to be a quality person. Are you somebody of quality that people can lean and depend on, or are you just a part of the quantity? Are you just another number? Or can people really depend on you when times are rough? When you say that you're going to pray for people, do you do it? When people just need you to shut up and listen, do you shut up and listen? Relationships aren't one-sided. You got to give in order to get. Well, I'm always giving and nobody really gives back to me, and I'm just tired and I think I want to change. Well, number one, don't let us not grow weary and well doing. Number two, me and Keith was talking about this the other day. Proverbs 27 and was it 27 or was it 17? Kids, I think it was 17, wasn't it? Proverbs 17, I forgot which verse it was, but it says a friend loves at all times. So that means what it means to be a quality friend is that sometimes when you give the love, it might not always come back to you the way that you think it will. But you really shouldn't be giving love out to receive it back in the first place. That's not how that works, because God certainly don't do that with us. Like I said, while we were yet sinners, we were content with doing our own thing a lot. Some of us still struggle with being content with doing our own thing a lot. And his love for us has never changed. Now, Keith told me a story last night, And it made me laugh because it was so adorable when I shared it with you here. Actually, I'll paraphrase it for you because we're Baptists and, we kind of take things and we put our own little baptization on it, kind of like a Rubik's Cube. We figure that thing out. But little boy was having trouble making friends. And his mom really wanted him to go outside and make some friends, Go out there and see who you can find. And so the boy went out there a couple times and a little bit of time went by and the boy came back. And his mama asked him, well, did you find a friend? The little boy said, yeah, his name is Andy. And his mama was curious. She was just like, well, what makes him different from all of the other kids? Why do you consider him a friend as opposed to everybody else? Well, he said, well, Andy, he walks with me. Andy talks with me. Andy tells me that I'm his own. Think about that really quickly. The friendships that you have and that you surround yourself with should mirror your relationship and your friendship with Christ. The reason why a lot of us can't do that is because we still can't fathom the fact that God considers us friend. We're looking at us. He tried to make me tune up. I just might do it. God considers us a friend even after all it is that we've done. God considers us a friend. What greater love than this, that a friend would lay down his life? Jesus said, man, ain't nobody taking my life. I'm laying it down. Now, God is so cold that Christ laid his life back down and he picked it back up on the third day. So I don't know about you, but I'm happy that I got a handy friend, because when I get weak and weary and when I get burdened down and when nobody else on this side of the river understands what I'm going through, whether I'm in the mountaintop or I'm in the valley, Andy walks with me and he talks with me and he tells me, I can't tell you what he tells you, but he tells me that I'm his own. And the joys that he and I share as we take our time and we tarry there, listen, ain't nobody else on this earth has ever known. So once again, he walks with me. So a friend walks with you. And a friend ain't afraid to talk to you. And a friend isn't afraid to reaffirm their relationship with you. And as you're doing this journey throughout life, there ought to be some joy in that friendship. Now, let me tell you something that is extremely important. Let me slide up just a little bit. Godly friendships ain't got nothing to do with gossip. I just want you to know that. So if you gossiping in your friendships, and if all they call you to do is just drop the latest drama on you, first of all, you really ain't got to call nobody to do that. Just hop on your Twitter timeline if you really want to know what's really going on in the world. All I had to do is just scroll Twitter. Twitter is the freaking newspaper. Twitter is Entertainment Weekly, Jet Magazine, Ebony Magazine, everything else, all wrapped into one. So, godly friendships ain't gonna have you out here gossiping, because gossip is not a part of the fruit of the spirit. So if you find yourself in friendships that are only focused on gossiping, it's time for you to take inventory on what you are allowing into your meditation zone. Because remember, we told y'all a couple weeks ago, the issues of life flow from that meditation zone. So if all you attracting is people that gossip, you might want to check and see what it is about you is attracting gossiping people. Because here's the thing, gossip could easily die with you if you just let it stay where it's at. You have to engage in it. You let it stay where it is. Let it die with you. But the moment you decide to keep it up, yeah, that ain't no godly friendship. Now, gossiping is different from venting. If somebody's venting to you, it's a little bit different. But if the only venting that they're doing is about other people, then that's not venting. They are gossiping. Look at the quality of the relationships around you. Listen, my phone stay on do not disturb 25/8. But there's certain people that can reach me anytime they want to, just about as long as I ain't sleep, because I'm not the God that watches over Israel. I slumber and I sleep. So good luck with that. But because they have shown the quality of themselves to me, everybody can't have access to you. We throw that word friend around a little bit too loosely. I know a lot of people, but I ain't known by too many. And that's fine. It's just the way I like it. I'm going to lean on the community that I ask God for because that's all I need. And they gonna lean on me too. But as we get ready to close, you need to really think about where your life is headed. You need to think about the community that you have around you. You need to ask yourself seriously, are these people that I can truly trust and to be vulnerable with? Because here's the thing, you can't trust everybody with your vulnerability. But if you're walking around with your guard up with everybody, like I used to, you're literally only walking down the path of your own self destruction. You need some people that you can tell some stuff that you can't tell nobody else to. Because yeah, you can tell God, that's great. He wants you to do that. But if you prayed to him for a community, you ought to have some people around you that you can trust with that vulnerability. It's one of the most freeing things that I've ever experienced in my life to be able to tell these people, man, listen, I ain't feeling like that one today, man. I'm tired. My mental health is exhausted. I'm at my limit. And they do one or two things. They either pick me up and carry and help me move on, or they just sit down and they just talk it out with me. They love on me. That's quality. That's love in action. That is something that you cannot get in an ungodly friendship, because a lot of us got a lot of enemies right now walking around disguised as friends. While they had a song called The French Strangers off of his More About Nothing mixtape, and the outro of the song stuck with me for the rest of my life. Even up until this point, I still play that song daily. Smiles and handshakes everywhere I go. Girlfriends, groupies, and I'm all alone. So confused, these strange relationships. I think I got some enemies disguised as friends. These are people around you that's going to tell you the tough stuff and give you that tough medicine. It's necessary. It's going to help you in the long run. So it's inventory season. What are you taking inventory of? Who are you taking inventory of? And are you taking inventory of attributes about yourself? I hope you are, because it's literally going to determine the trajectory of the rest of your life.